There.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Russ.
Russ is fine. What do you got, Melissa?
Y'all here?
Except for you. Mrs. Roberts, do you have anything you'd like to say before we start?
Once I got the Blue Cross Blue Shield numbers, I developed 3, just for purposes of having a starting point. I developed 3 balanced budgets for you guys to work with. I have a longevity only with the Blue Cross Blue Shield adjustment built in. I have an additional 65 cents from that with the Blue Cross built in, and I have a $2 with the Blue Cross built in, and the balancing factor in all of that was a bit of a split between unencumbered fund balance and bringing in a contribution from capital reserve. So that's just my way. This is your budget. I am willing to do whatever you want, but in the end, we need to come to a balanced number because that's the law.
So let me give you one other answer that you all asked for. The money that's allocated for our portion of the FLAP grant has to be allocated in the budget. It has to be earmarked to meet the grant requirements. So that needs to stay in there. Amy, unless you have some objections, I'm going to simply start, and I'm going to start with Mr. Knopfsinger on the other end and ask him if he has any amendments he would like to make.
Okay.
And then we will go right around the table and
All right.
get through this process.
Okay.
All right? Chuck?
Am I correct that this was with the lesser amount for the fire department?
So what
So-
I have not, other than I've given you 3 versions of pay increases, I did not deal with any other of those salary adjustment increases.
Are you, no, I believe he's asking about the front
Oh,
paving
I'm sorry.
project.
The
Is
paving
it still at 80,000?
It is still at 80,000.
Okay.
Does that include the heat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So when we're going to do this, I'm going to, Chuck, are you finished?
Yes.
All right. Roger?
Well, my question was also going to be about the paving project to the fire department. But just as a reminder, we do not have Jim on the phone anymore, do we?
No, he left. He's,
Okay.
I mean, he's
Okay. By way of his statement that and we're talking about amendments.
Right.
He brought up the fact of the $6,000 for the YMCA. I'm guessing he was putting that forward as a amendment. Is that our understanding?
he would like it in the budget in some fashion, but let me answer that question, if I may, with a question.
Okay.
In last year's budget, we had set aside $3,000 for the Ohio Valley Work Camp.
Mm-hmm.
That money has not been used and can't be used because they're not in operation
Correct.
anymore. All right? What I would propose to you all, instead of putting that in next year's budget, that we would take that $3,000 that was allocated for the Ohio Valley Work Camp and then have Amy, either contingency or wherever you feel comfortable with, taking the additional 3 out of there, out of this year's budget, and then we can just pay them. Now, if you don't like that, then we can add the YMCA in as an outside agency and amend the budget as it is for that. But we already have money in the budget. It's not being used. I think that would be a little easier than,
I think I'd prefer it to be done that way as well.
well, we can't take a vote,
I understand.
but I'm just saying that that's an option.
I understand.
And Mayor, in case I missed it, if I may, you are going to, if you do it out of this year's budget, you're going to have a separate agenda item.
No, I'll bring it back in a form of a
Okay.
budget revision later.
And we'll go through budget
Next
finance
meeting.
in the whole 9 yards.
Yes,
We're
or, yeah,
essentially just
April.
saying we don't need to address it right now
In the
because it's not
budget.
going to
Yes.
pertain to this particular budget. You'll bring it before later.
I'll bring
Okay.
it
Yes,
back.
All right?
yes.
I like it.
Okay. All right. Roger, anything else?
I do not have anything else.
All right. Thank you. Melissa, we're to you.
Yes. Okay. In the police department, I think I would like to amend and say that we are going to add the police positions as requested. That would be for the, well, what was it? The sergeant, the.
It was
we were eliminating
adding a
sergeant-
captain position and eliminating a sergeant.
And
It
adding
was,
2 patrolmen, is that right?
well,
Eliminate the
those were
sergeant.
separate issues, but
Make the captain.
Yeah, so I would move to include those in this budget. If they don't get filled or plans change, we can amend that later, but I would like to see us go ahead and make plans for that in this upcoming budget.
And what funding stream would you like to take that? Amy, I'm not sure, it's what, $180,000 to fund that?
the police, an additional police officer costs, $70,500. So it's going to be $141,000 for that position. We haven't really addressed if you guys have any feeling on a pay raise. But obviously, we budgeted to bring in 400,000 from capital reserve last year. I think this highest budget has us at 160,000. We didn't end up needing to bring that money in from capital reserve, so I haven't done that. But we can certainly budget to do that if it's needed. You can't say it's to pay for police officers. Bringing money in from capital reserve would be to pay for capital reserve items. Okay, so we have basically 1.4 million in capital reserve items. So any money we bring in would have to go towards those items. But it would free up, basically it frees up other revenue money to pay for the police officers. You understand that philosophy? It's the same money, it's just how you state
How
it.
you name it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so so then as an amendment then, are we voting on each thing as it comes along? Is that what we're doing, or are we just,
I just think, if you don't do it that way, by the time we get to the end, it's going to be a mess.
yeah,
I would suggest that as each item comes up,
Mm-hmm.
you voice your amendment, ask for a second, and then call for a vote on that.
okay, I move to add the additional police positions that Chief Pfeiffer asked for to be added to this coming budget.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we amend the budget to include the amount of funds estimated at $150,000. Is that a comfortable number? 150?
Or whatever. it is.
145?
145. Amend the budget.
Wait, you're not holding to a specific amount,
No,
right?
no, you'll
Like
fix
you're
it.
gonna- Okay.
Yes, but we have to put a number in there so that you can tweak it, all right? Because you'll do the calculations.
Yeah, so let's not,
I don't
we
think we
don't
need
have
to,
to state an amount.
we don't need a number.
Don't state an amount.
Yeah.
Just add 2 police positions and a captain
Yeah.
position and eliminate a sergeant.
Okay. We'll get better with time we get to the end of the table.
I'll take
All right.
care of the numbers.
So you would like to amend the budget
Yes.
to include the 2 new police officers and the captain's position in this budget.
Correct.
Eliminate a sergeant.
Well,
Yes.
but that'll happen when you advance the lieutenant and then you drop one out,
Okay.
okay? That's a procedure thing,
That's fine.
all right?
Do we also need to address the additional police car? Because he said he would need that if he had those additional positions.
It would require an additional police car, yes.
I would suggest that that's a separate.
No, but he's asking a question. There's lots of things that go along when you start adding police officers.
Because then you have the uniforms and other
The
things. that
pension
are
is,
gonna-
but at any rate, all right? So the motion on the floor is to amend the budget to add the 2 police officers and the new captain's position. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? All right, Amy, that one passes. We'll move on.
Okay.
Oh, no,
Okay.
we won't. We're back to the list. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. I got to find my list here again. I've got it all on here. I would like to move that there be no department head raises across the board, that there are no department head raises.
Are those aren't identified in here as of now, are they?
There were department heads that asked for raises outside of any across-the-board raise.
Is that what you're referring to, Melissa?
Yeah, so the different ones, it was IT, personnel, parks, somebody else, anyway, whoever, the department head raises that they asked for, the additional that they asked for, I would move to not do those.
Do we do them as a group or separately?
We can do them as a group.
I think you can do them as a group. Just want to make sure your amendment is clear. You're moving to not have any department head raises excluding any across-the-board raises. that you're
Yes,
talking
yeah,
about.
if there's an across-the-board raise, then but the additional ones that they ask for specifically, I would say no to those.
We're waiting on a second.
I just want to make sure all.
I know the motion. We just need a second.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we eliminate the requested pay raises for the department heads exclusive of longevity or any other across-the-board raise. Is there any further discussion? I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the amendment to remove the requested pay raises exclusive of longevity and any across-the-board raises for the department heads? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed?
Wait, do it one more time.
4-2.
1, 2, 3, 5, 1.
5-1.
I probably should have done this before, but there was, the IT fella had asked for a raise for his new employee. He is not considered a department head. So I think that
Need to clarify that one.
yeah. Because I don't think it was included in that last motion.
Okay, I would include that also.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we remove the IT assistant, thank you, from the pay raise exclusive of longevity and any other across-the-board pay raise as voted by council. Get ready. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, then I'll ask for the question. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That passes 6-0. All right? Let's keep going.
Okay. Next. This is a question first. Do we know if that in the IT for that 25,000 for the computers, is that enough for the number of computers that we are wanting to replace? Because I believe that number was originally based on him rebuilding them. Is that right? Does anybody
Yeah.
remember that?
Okay, so I can absolutely tell you that I told him many less computers for my department
Okay.
than what he built in for the
Okay.
number. I have maybe 1 or 2 in my department that need replaced. I don't need everybody in my department's computer replaced. When you do that, you create, then the receipt printers don't work and the scanners don't work, and it just creates havoc. And I understand there are some, I don't know, updates coming up, I believe. But that was my recommendation to him, was for my department was 2. So I don't feel comfortable being able to answer that question.
Okay. I didn't know if that was something that would need addressed, if we would need to increase it or decrease it based on that. So I just wanted to kind of bring that forward as a question first to see if it was something that we were going to need to make a change to. Okay. All right. I'm satisfied with that. That's
Yeah,
fine. That's fine.
I just want to
Yeah,
answer.
no, that's fine. And if we get to the end and I want to have another one, can you come back to me?
Absolutely. Because I'm going to call for the final question.
Great. Thank
We're
you.
gonna get
All right.
this done.
I'm done for now.
So you already know you have a question.
I probably do.
Well, great.
I'm just
Let's get it
waiting.
over with.
No, go on. Go on.
Sheen.
It might get answered before it gets.
That's
There you
right.
go.
That's right. So I'll just hold it for a little bit.
I have no amendments
Okay,
at this time.
okay.
I have none.
It's your turn.
I might hit on something you're looking at, so we'll see. First of all, I have a question about whether we're going to do a $1 raise or no raise, just the 35-cent longevity, or the $1, which is the 35 plus the 65 cents.
Tried to spell that out there.
Yeah, no, it's very clear. I want to make
Okay.
sure I'm clear in how I'm saying it,
Yes.
because I don't want people to think it's $1 plus the 35
Right.
cents, because it's not. The same thing with the $2. And I don't know how council's going to feel about that, if they're just going to leave it at the longevity or the $1 or the $2. And so, you know, I can understand the budget, the three budgets that would be concerned here.
And this doesn't tie us to a certain number, but we have to pass a balanced budget.
Right. So this
The
just,
pay raise still has to come forward in a separate resolution.
so because I know we're not going to decide that right now, I do want to, I have concerns about part-time employees, non-seasonal part-time employees. We have some employees that work in the police department, and we have an employee that works at the senior center, and their duties are, I know the part-time employees at the police department, they file and
I
they
have
answer.
part-time employees.
You have part-time employees as well? Okay. That, some of these duties are, considerable, okay? And because part-time, non-seasonal employees have no way to get a raise because they're not exposed to that 35-cent longevity, that I would like to move that if we raise the employees by $1 or by $2, that I move to include the non-seasonal part-time employees with that raise.
It's been moved that we raise the non-seasonal part-time employees by whatever raise that the regular employees are given.
Yes.
And I will tell you that is not built into this budget, in any of these budgets.
I
So
appreciate-
it would be a change coming forward next week.
Right.
Okay.
So, yeah, I appreciate that.
I'll second.
I'm sorry.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we include the part-time, non-seasonal employees in whatever raise that the full-time employees are given. Is that good? All right. Any further discussion?
Trying to remember what we did last year, because they got a raise last year. Did we do the longevity plus the additional raise, or
You
were
mean
they flat?
all full-time employees?
No, part-time
Oh,
employees.
part-time, that was the dispatchers across the street. I believe that they are at $11 an hour. That's what comes to mind. We raised it because they were at like minimum wage, $8.75.
Okay.
I believe we raised it to 11. Other than
So
that,
there's no longevity because
they don't receive longevity.
they don't
because
receive
they're not-
longevity, so it was just a raise of this
Yes.
amount.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And just to be clear, I've made this amendment because I think if we look at our local job market, and it's been stated here many times, the pressures of whether it's Hobby Lobby, whoever, that are attracting people at a much higher rate, our part-time folks, they're not getting any of this benefit package, any of the thing that our regular full-time employees get. They're not even getting full-time. So for me, I think it's important that we keep qualified people, and we're not providing a way for them to get a raise. And so that's why I suggested it.
Is there any further discussion? It's been moved and seconded that we increase the part-time, non-seasonal employees rate by the same amount that the regular full-time employees get, excluding longevity. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Next amendment I would like to make is, I'm going to go to line 3, 905, the senior center. I have concerns that the pool is not going to be open. I have big concerns about that. And I don't think it will be open, but we'll see. But if it doesn't, the last thing that I feel that we need to do is cut back on activities that we have planned. Now, the way that that line item is, it actually would keep us from doing, we'd have to cut back on classes. And right now we have a full year's worth of Zumba classes scheduled. We have chair volleyball coming back. All these programs that are coming back because, all this stuff was hindered because of COVID. And I understand the mayor's looked at the historical data, and that's not really fair because it's not going to show you that because we weren't in full participation at that time during COVID. So I move that we increase line 3 from 905 Senior Center from $84,226 to $98,954. And just so everybody understands, that's a net change of $14,728. But that includes Linda Kern, the Senior Center worker, our instructors, etc. If we don't increase that, then we're definitely going to have to cut programs. So
So an additional 14,728.
yes, that's correct. If I have to track this, I guess, to a line item, then
That also increases line item, any of these that deal with
Okay, so,
salary also
Kim?
increases other line items,
If
but
you're going to break it down that way, we're going to need to vote on every one of these line items.
okay,
All right?
that's fine.
well,
So,
okay.
I'm sorry?
Well, when you vote on a salary one, it affects FICA, it affects, not for class people, but FICA definitely, right? And so it's going to affect multiple line items. She said 90503, but she wants to add an additional $14,000 in salaries, and then I make it fall out, right?
I understand perfectly, okay? The problem with this, though, do you have any more items in 905?
Yeah, I have a couple more items.
I'm sorry?
Yes,
She has a couple
I have a couple more amendments.
Yes, that's what I mean.
That's the only one from 905.
Okay.
So,
I just want you all to be aware, when I bring it forward, there's a trickle-down effect. It's not just going to be 03. It's going to create some other numbers. I'm fine with it. I absolutely will do what I'm supposed to do, but it's just not one line item.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but for whatever reason, and that brings up a good point. I don't know why the instructors and all that kind of stuff are put into this line item 3, which it seems like it would be better in professional services. But at any rate, it's mapped
No,
that
they
way.
go through, they are our employees, and so they are in 03. It's basically, they go through our payroll.
Okay.
Professional services are typically people who we're contracting with. I think the IRS would come in and they would deem them our employees, because we've actually had that happen. And so I feel truly 100% confident that it needs to be in 03.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. I'm not arguing that point. I'm just pointing out it's just kind of hard to make this amendment because of the way everything's tied together. My
Sure.
main concern, and I know you'll work the magic and make the numbers work out, so we all understand, but my main concern is that this is underfunded to the point we are definitely going to have to cut Zumba classes, or maybe we
No,
do away
I-
with chair volleyball or whatever. So that's my concern. I don't want to see us cut back on these programming.
I don't have a problem. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew it was going to affect other line items.
okay,
Yeah.
make your motion, Kim.
I thought I just
I
did.
think she did, actually.
Please restate your motion, Kim.
Right. Well, I move to increase, wait a minute. Okay, I move to increase line 3 from 905 Senior Center to, I don't know how to say it. Now you got me so confused.
To add an additional $14,728.
Yes, $14,728.
And that any line items that are affected by that would
Would
naturally.
also be
yeah,
adjusted.
a motion on the floor that is to modify line 3 for section 905 senior center to add $14,728.
Yes. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we increase line item number 3 on 905 from $84,954 and increasing that number by $14,000.
$14,728.
$14,728. Okay. Is there any discussion? All right, so then I need to give you the information that I know about this. All right. You've referred that there would be a reduction in classes. The problem with this is, in my discussion to this afternoon regarding this issue, bringing back the pickleball leagues, we already have another employee on site that could oversee the pickleball courts. All she has to do is be trained on the rules of pickleball, and she's already our employee. The second item on this is, because the pool more than likely will not be open next year, we will not be able to run the Aqua Zumba classes that we have run for a number of years. All right? Now, the reason why the request was from an employee, not the department, but from an employee, was to increase that line item was because the proposed solution would be to take all the Zumba instructors and go to Williamstown and use the Williamstown pool to conduct our Zumba classes. All right? So if your feeling is that you think that we should continue to support the water Zumba classes and Williamstown, that's what the additional money's for. All the other programs that we have and have continued to operate will be in place. Okay? So that's my answer for that one. All right? So is there any further discussion? All right, then I'll call for the question. All those increasing line item number 3 out of item number 905 by $14,728. Am I correct?
Yes.
$14,728. Please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Tom, I didn't see your hand, buddy. You were for. Okay. 5-1. Okay. All right, Kim, what else?
Okay. I have some concerns about that we still have in the budget. Line 68, 547 festivals for $5,000. I know we have put Friends of Vienna on as an outside agency. That's $25,000 for the Freedom Festival. So I don't see the reason to hold out another $5,000 for some other festival. I think, we've committed to this one. So if I have to map an amendment to a line item, that would be easy because I think that's redundant. I moved to increase line 19 from 912 civic promotions from 36,500 to 38,830. It's a net change of $2,330. And that's going to cover events at Spencer's Park, the Veterans Day event, the Holidays event. Once again, I think that there's an anticipation of cost. Everything's going up. We all know that. That's no big mystery. So I don't want to see us cut back on the things that our community they've grown to love. So I want to see us continue to do that. So I move that we increase that line item.
And can you give me the line item one more
Sure.
time?
It's
912.
912, line item 19.
19, okay. And that was an additional 2330?
It's, right now it's in the budget at 36,500. I want to increase it to 38,830.
And that's an additional 2330?
2330, yes.
Okay, all right.
Say the number, 38,000 what again?
38,830.
Does that have something to do with that doesn't have anything to do with the 5,000 you were talking about with the festivals? That's a separate one you're doing?
Well, if the mayor stated that we would need to say what line item we want to take it out of, and I think that we are safe to say that we can take it out of 547 festivals, because we're already going to give Friends of Vienna $25,000 for the Freedom Festival. I see no reason to maintain another line item for $5,000 for festivals.
Just, and I'm trying to keep track of this, so you want to move $2,330 from line 68 and 547 festivals to line 19, or I'm sorry,
91219.
line item 19, by increasing it by 2330 to a total of $38,330.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Correctly stated. So much better than I was doing. Appreciate it.
I'm trying to write them down.
So what happens to the rest of the money in festivals?
I'm not done yet.
There you go. She's not done.
Well, okay, then we'll move on.
Okay.
No. You have a motion, right?
Right.
Thank you. The motion is to increase line item 19 up to $38,830. Okay? That funds to be taken from the festival's line, and that's where it'll come from. All right? Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we increase line item 19 to $38,830, removing the money from festivals at a $500,000 rate. Coming, how do you want to say that?
I'm just going to move $2,330 from festivals
There you go. She wanted
to
reduce it by that.
91219.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Is there any
I
further
know what I'm
discussion?
doing.
Call for the question. And all those in favor of the amendment to increase line item 19 to $38,830, removing it from
Festivals.
festivals. All right? Please signify by raising your right hand. I'm sorry, Tom. Russ is blocking your view. Take that shit out. You're not voting for that. Okay. All right. All right. What
Okay.
else?
So this is my last one. Once again, I think this is a very minor thing, and we still have enough money in 547 festivals, so I would think that's where this should come from. It's line 23 from 912 Civic Promotions. I move to increase line 23 from 912 Civic Promotions from the $8,400 to $9,900. That's a net change of $1,500. And this is, once again, it's, to cover the increase in costs from the family fun weekends and other events that we have coming up.
$1,500.
Yeah, it's just $1,500.
So you want to increase civic promotions by $1,500
From 8,400 to 99.
and have it removed from the festivals?
Correct.
Okay.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we increase line item number 23 to $9,900, the $1,500 to be removed from the festivals line item. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Are you abstaining or voting no?
No.
Okay, 5-1. Oh, I'm. Okay, and you're done?
Yes, sir, I'm done.
All right. So we didn't have any more suggestions, so I'll ask Amy, what do you have, anything?
Well, we didn't deal with the fire department's change in classification. I don't know if nobody wants to bring that up. I just wanted to point it out that it wasn't dealt with.
Yes.
Are you referring to increasing the employee from a zone 3 to, or class 3?
S3 to an
class 4?
S4.
Yes. If that needs to be a budget item, then I will ask for that amendment.
It is not
Because
currently
as soon as
in the
he gets his
budget.
certification to be a historical inspector, then he will take that certification and advance to the next level. Do we have an estimate on what that is, Amy?
And it's additional $1,587 to the budget in total,
Okay,
65 cents per hour.
all right. So I would move to amend the fire department salary Do you know what that department is?
500 and.
500.
500.
I would just say change in classification for that employee.
Fair to say you want to increase the fire department salary line item to reflect the change in classification, increasing the employee from an S3 to an S4 by an additional $1,587.
Well, it's not, I mean, that falls out over a lot of line items, but okay.
Is that?
Once
well,
again, I
mean,
don't think we have to say the dollar
I
amount
don't think we
again.
have to say the
okay,
dollar
I don't,
amount, yeah.
I don't know. I heard a dollar amount.
So I would like to amend line item 03 in the fire department's budget, Department 500, by the classification and all of the things that go along with it,
Yes.
from a C3 to a C4.
S3 to an
S3,
S4.
S4. Okay. And I'm sorry, I don't have any way to take that. Tell me where you'd like to take that from.
We don't necessarily have to right now, right? Because that's what you'll,
I mean, what I have told you, how I have reflected my changes currently, I can take an additional amount from capital reserve unless, like Kim did, she found a spot in the budget. But if not, I'm going to reflect my changes either in unencumbered balance or in bringing in money from capital reserve.
All right? Before we deal with the last
we
item.
need to vote on it.
Oh, you didn't vote.
All
We didn't
those in
vote.
favor of amending the fire department budget, line item 03 to reflect the one employee going from a S3 to an S4, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. All right. Amy, before we go to the pay raise, can you give us a brief guesstimate of, I know you've calculated it into all of these, but can you give us a guesstimate of what each one of those pay rates is going to cost us? I mean, if it's longevity only, you've already put it in there, right?
Sure.
All right,
And so if you turn
65
to,
cents?
so if you turn to your, where the second page of your budget, and you look at your 03 line item, in the longevity budget, it would be going up $31,597, if I'm looking at the correct one. That's just the salary portion of that, obviously.
The rest of the items are like 7%. How much?
Then we go to the additional 65 cents on top of that. In total, because the longevity is also there, it's a change of $83,358. You go to that same line item on the $2 or the $1.65 additional, and it's an additional $166,759. Is that what you want to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Nope, that's fine. All right, so now the decision that we have to make is if we're going to give a pay raise to the employees, and at what level are we going to do it? All right?
I mean, I think at this point, it's what budget do we want to bring forward, right? You're not voting on a pay raise, but what do you want to build in? What numbers do you want to build into the budget? Because a raise resolution will come later,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
you see?
Do you want to compare a $2 pay raise, a $1 pay raise?
Right, so what number do you want to build into the budget? So if you say, okay, go forward with the $2 or the additional $1.65, that doesn't necessarily commit you, right? It's just saying, we've appropriated the funds. You're still gonna have to vote on the pay raise. And then if it ends up being longevity only, then we could then move that money to somewhere else. I just want you to understand the options.
Okay. So let me say this. If we vote the pay raise in, I believe that we should increase our starting salary, our hiring wage, by whatever that pay rate is, so that the next employees that come in also benefit from the fact that we've improved our starting rate.
Yes,
Because
and I
our
think
starting
that's
rate
for,
is so low.
you know, when the resolution is written, that has to be addressed. And also, when the resolution is written, we then have to also address, because we address the part-time employees. So that would also have to come forward in that resolution.
Okay. All right.
But it's just which budget do you want me to bring forward?
We're still kind of having discussion about this, kind of bouncing things off of each other a little bit.
Yes.
One of the things that I've considered, because originally I was not really in favor of course, the across-the-board raises. I've starting to see that that's the way we need to do it. I originally wasn't really thinking that I wanted to do a raise at all for the employees, in addition to the longevity. However, because of inflation right now, I kind of felt like, if anything, I could be more swayed to increase it by the dollar just to help counter the crazy inflation that's happening in our world right now. Everything may reset and get back to normal next year. But that seemed to me like something that I could deal with myself reasonably and be okay with. Something else that I was considering, again, as we're discussing this, was I still am concerned about the police department, and I would be in favor of giving them an additional dollar raise. So if it was $1 for all city employees and then police $1 more on top of that. I know you didn't prepare a budget for that.
Nope, don't have that one.
But I'm concerned, and I like your idea too, Randy, about the starting wage, that when we do address this later on through a resolution, that we need to address that. So I think that's an excellent idea. So those are a couple things that I'm considering as we're all putting our 2 cents in.
Okay. So I honestly believe that our employees are underpaid because of the job market. And I'm a firm believer in the police department. I think those guys do an incredible job. We did give them a pay raise last year. My feeling is that we give the employees, because I can tell you right now, the gentlemen that work in public works absolutely deserve whatever raise is given, because they come out at all hours of the night and day and do jobs that are incredible. They don't carry guns. They work with shovels and the other things that we have to have. But the Public Works Department is absolutely deserving. And having said that, my feeling is that if we're going to give raises, it needs to be across the board, because every department that we have deserves. I mean, Vienna is what it is because of the people that work for the city of Vienna. It just is. It runs 24/7, 365 days a year at an extremely high level. And so whether it's the finance department or the public works or the parks or the police or the fire, these are great people. I would hate to lose any of them. And so my feeling is that if we're going to do the pay raise, that we bite the bullet and we make it $2 across the board, not simply $1 raise and then an extra $1 for the police department. Mr. Azinger.
You stole my speech, but anyway, I think with the present job market, we need to go $2. The inflation rate is 7.65 or something like that. The consumer price index, or the producer's price index, is 10%, which ultimately will filter through to the people who buy their goods. So, and if we're going to compete and reward our employees, and what you said about them coming out all hours of the day and night and being waist deep in mud and all that jazz, it's imperative that we give them the $2 raise.
Okay. All right. Then I would make a motion that we increase the wages of all full-time employees in the city of Vienna by the 35-cent longevity, and then give them a $1.65 pay raise for a total of $2.
I think we have to say that you want to go with the budgeted numbers, because we are not voting on a pay raise at this time.
Amendment 3, right?
I would
Yeah,
go,
yes.
I would move that we go with the budget with the $1.65 plus the
Yes.
35-cent raise, which I don't see a number on it. Is there a number on that one that you want me to reference?
No, it's fine. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah, you have it up there. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right.
A second.
How'd I do that?
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the budget with $1.65 plus 35-cent longevity. Is there any further discussion?
I'm sorry, I missed what happened to Mrs. Elam's dollar.
We were talking.
We were just discussing
Okay,
it, and then
so-
he gave his opinion, then he made a motion.
Okay, all right, fine. You know, I agree. I think I had the same starting point as you did, Melissa, which was, you know, the 35-cent longevity. We know we have to do that, and the holding it to that. Employees got a dollar raise last year. Then there was an opportunity with the incentive that was provided for the vaccine. So everybody got $1,000 and participated in that. But you know, given the current circumstances of things, I think that that changed my mind, and so I'm comfortable at $1. I start to get very uncomfortable at $2, and the reason being, our employees, there are so many employees that don't make enough, that the starting wage is too low. I agree with that 100%. But we look at everything in a total compensation package, and so those other things, health insurance, the 9% or so that gets kicked in on retirement, paid holidays, you know, et cetera, longevity insurance, or I'm sorry, disability insurance, and so on and so forth, that adds another $13.50 on per hour per each employee. So I'm okay in the middle because it seems like we're kind of balancing the needs of our employees and also the needs of our taxpayers. So I won't support a $2 amendment, or $2 raise, but I would support the dollar budget.
All right, any further discussion? Then I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the budget with the $1.65 plus the 35-cent longevity, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? All right, 5-1. We're going to go with that budget right there, Amy. If you would correct the amendments that were made,
Yes.
and then we'll vote on it next Thursday.
Yeah, I really appreciate all your help getting to the numbers, and I will try to get something out as soon as possible.
Awesome.
Thanks, Amy.
If you notice anything, please call me, because I'd like to have a good budget coming forward next week. So if you see something that is out of line, please let me know. Also, I gave you the Cole severance budgets, which will also come for a vote next week. It's, you know, not a lot of money, but it will be voted on.
All right.
Thank you.
That concludes our agenda this evening. Do we have any council comments? I have one. We've asked the park board to get started on whatever it is that they need to get an engineering firm, get experts in to give us a pathway forward. Tim, we're going to need an estimate because we're going to have to appropriate you some money because engineers don't work for free. And whatever we need to do to get that, we can't start you with nothing. All right, so if you would please get a number, we'll do a budget revision, and we'll try to get you something to work with, okay? All right, so any other council comments this evening? All right. Meeting adjourned.